Alright guys, welcome back to another video. So I have a question for you. What happens when you start a small aircraft company and you fly mail for the United States Postal Service? What happens? Well, let's find out right after this. Alright everyone, welcome back to Traveling with Justin. I am Justin, and today we're going to be talking about United Airlines. Yes, United Airlines was that small company founded by William Boeing. That's a familiar last name. And it was done over in Boise, Idaho. And then it merged with Whitney and Pratt. You know, the Whitney and Pratt, they make engines, right? Yeah, they do. And they used to fly mail for the United States Postal Service. And then they grew to what they are now. So it took 4 years for United to merge with Continental Airlines. And in 2019, they finally changed the name from United Continental Holdings just to United Airlines Holding. So with all that stuff that they grew from 1926 up to now, they fly to over 342 different destinations. But they have hubs in the following locations: in Chicago O'Hare, Denver, Guam. Now that's an interesting one. They have a hub in Guam. Houston Intercontinental, Los Angeles, Newark, San Francisco, and Washington Dulles. That's where Die Hard was filmed, well, based off of. But so yeah, those are the hubs they fly out of. They fly out of different airports, like they fly out of Salt Lake City. But their main hubs are those particular airports. So they also fly to 48 different countries. So that's a lot, right? And United is a founding member of a Star Alliance. And that Star Alliance allows me to book a flight on United and then fly and catch a ride on Singapore Airlines, and then maybe I can finish out my trip on Turkish Airways. You know, it does, that's what it is. So you can book, and then you can just book with different airlines all along. And that's a great thing to do. JetBlue has an alliance, Southwest does not, and Hawaiian's partnered with a couple people. But this one right here, that's 20 different airlines that United can work with. And so you have endless possibilities. And so United also employs over 92,000 people. That's a lot of people that United employs. So I thought United would be a mixture of Boeing and Airbus aircraft, but I was wrong. So here are the airplanes that United flies. So the fleet size of United is 903 planes. So they have a mixture of the Boeing 787s, 8, 9, and 10s, the Boeing 777s, or the Triple X, 200 and the 300ER, and then they have the Boeing 767, 200 and 300 models. Then they have the Boeing 737, the 700, 800, and 900. And then they have a couple Airbuses in there, 319 and 320. But they also have a group called the Regional Airs. One is called a United Express, and that has SkyWest, Republic Airways, Mesa Airlines, GoJet Airlines, and Commute Air. And they use something called a CRJ. It's a Bombardier CRJ 200, 550, 700, and 900. So they're just smaller planes. And they also use a plane called EMB, and that's an EMB 170 and 175. Oh, and they also do an EB 145. So yeah, United is this major airline, and then it has some regional airlines that fly underneath the United Express, and they fly the little bit smaller plane. If you look back at United over the past few years, this is just my opinion, okay? Totally my opinion. Nobody else's but mine, Justin. Probably with Justin right here. All right, so if you look back over the last few years, United really hasn't had that good of a track record. I've had friends that flown on United and just hated it. So I was a little weary when we booked our flight from Salt Lake City to Austin, Texas. So my son, he was supposed to go to Hawaii in 2021. And he put his ticket and everything on United. However, COVID hit and he tested positive for it, but the next day he was fine. So it was only like a 24-hour thing. But he couldn't fly to Hawaii, which is probably good for us because he helped us move. Because he would have been gone during the move. Maybe that would have been better than he wouldn't know where we live. But, so he had a credit. And United allowed that credit to be taken and paid for multiple people. And so that made it nice. So when we booked our flight to fly to Texas back in 2022, we took his United credit and we had to pay a little bit more for all of our airline tickets. But yeah, we took it from Salt Lake City, we went to Denver, then to Austin. So my experience on United was kind of, all these horror stories in my head. I was like, oh, what's going to happen? But when we got on the plane in Salt Lake City, it was great. It was not a problem at all. We found our seats, we sat down, and, we got a snack and everything like that. All right, and so, yeah, it was a nice flight. The horror stories I heard about United was just horror stories. It's just stories. Because my experience on United was we got on, it was perfectly fine. We were running late out of Salt Lake, though. We were running late out of Salt Lake. We got to Denver, and we had a connecting flight. Yeah, we had a small window of a connecting flight. And so we were arriving late, and the United Airlines stewardess, or flight attendants, where did we want to call them, they got on and said, everyone sit down, stay seated. Now we have 8 people that have connecting flights. And we know who those 8 people are, so can you raise your hands, And we raised our hands up and like, okay, these, we got one going to Austin here. We got others going over here. And so we got our bags. We were the first off the plane, and then they showed us where we needed to go. Yeah, we got off the plane here, and we went down Denver Airport, and it was like four gates down. So it wasn't too bad. But they actually held everyone on the plane until we got off. And we got on the plane with, like 7 minutes to spare. And that made it really super nice. And I wish other airlines would do that, but United's the only one I have seen. Now, I do have something to do with United. Here's a bad thing. On the way to Austin, the plane wasn't that full. And I asked, since there was 3 of us, if we can move to somewhere where they didn't have as many people on it. I figured, it's the pandemic era, and they said no. You can't because of weight balance. I'm like, we're 1 seat back. Well, you would have to pay more for that. Well, why would I have to pay more for a seat back? I just don't understand that. I mean, if there's room on the plane, why don't you let them spread out? That's just my opinion. But I really enjoyed United. United came from a small company that flew mail, now to a large company that probably still flies United States Postal Service mail, and they fly the passengers. And United's made themselves one of the biggest carriers here in the United States. And, I can recommend United. There's things I don't like about all airlines that I've talked about. But still, I didn't experience any of the horror stories that my friend has experienced. And he flies all the time. And I haven't, and the horror stories I've heard about in the news and things like that, I haven't experienced that. I'm sure I could if I flew United all the time, but I could see that in Southwest or JetBlue or Hawaiian, any of the other ones that I've talked about so far, I can see that. But that's the nature of flying. But yeah, I could honestly say that I enjoyed United, except for they wouldn't let me switch a seat just so that I could spread out a little bit. And, instead of my arms like this, because I was stuck in the middle, of course. I was stuck in the middle like this. Oh, and they wouldn't let me move. But it is what it is, right? But yeah, United was good, and I would fly them again. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Alright, so I also encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel because I've got some more information coming out. I got some more blogs and vlogs, I guess you can call it, on the modes of transportation I take, my travel adventures, and just basically my opinion on where I travel to. And if you want to keep up with that, which I highly suggest you do, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified whenever I post a new one. I would really appreciate it if you did. It will help make the videos go out there with the YouTube algorithm. Alright guys, and I'm grateful for everyone out there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.